Okay, we can start. Satya Prabhu, are you seeing the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can.
Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshur Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkripa Sri Gurum Din Taranam Pramanand Madhvam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanto Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyamadi Pashat Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasade Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare नाम संकीर्तन की जय कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय संबल भक्त वृंद की जय इसकन फाउंडर आचार्य डिवाइन से प्रभुपाद की जय हरे कृष्णा we are starting the nectar of instruction and this is going to be known as module 4 for your Bhakti Shastri course. On the slide here you can see in the very beginning Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving instruction to Srila Rupa Goswami. Another picture of Rupa Goswami here. And Rupa Goswami is the author of the Nectar of Instruction. So just to give you background, when Mahaprabhu was doing his final pastime, which is also known as Ante Leela, Mahaprabhu resided in Jagannath Puri, and group of devotees, they were staying, they were serving Mahaprabhu. So one evening, Mahaprabhu was walking on the beach, in Jagannath Puri, there is a sea, and Mahaprabhu was walking on the beach. As he was walking, seeing the color of the sea, which is bluish, he remembered Shyam Sundar. I mean, he was seeing Krishna everywhere. He is Krishna himself. And then remembering Shyam Sundar, seeing the bluish color, he fainted. All devotees around him, they took care of him. And when Mahaprabhu regained his consciousness, he started giving instructions to his followers. You can see a group of devotees, and Mahaprabhu is giving instructions to them. One of them here in the picture is Rupa Goswami. Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadhati Swapadantikam. Sri Rupa Goswami was empowered by Mahaprabhu to know what is in the heart of Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Avishtam Astapitena Jena Bhutale. Sri Chaitanya Manovishtam Astapitena Jena Bhutale. The one who can read Manovishtam, mind, Avishtam, and can reveal to this common mankind, that is Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami heard the instructions. which were given to him by Mahaprabhu. And after hearing the instructions, he compiled those teachings in a series of 11 verses. And those verses are called Upades Amrita. Updes means instructions, and Amrita means nectar. So in Sanskrit, it's called Updes Amrita. Updesa means instructions. Oh, it's right there on the screen. And Amrita means nectar. So Updes Amrita in English is called the nectar of instruction. And these 11 verses that we are going to see are based on teaching of Mahaprabhu. So these 11 verses are considered extremely critical for a sadhaka to follow. So I would like to read a few sentences from the preface of the Nectar of Instructions. Rupa Goswami gave us the Updesamrita so that we may become pure Vaishnava. So it says here that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left behind him the 8 verses, which are known as Shikshastaka. And Rupa Goswami gave us the Updesamrita so that we may become pure Vaishnava. So the intent of these 8 instructions are that by following these instructions, we'll become pure devotee. Like, and it is compared here that Mahaprabhu gave these Sikshastika, Sri Chaitanya, Chaturapna Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Vapana, Sirha Kairava Chandrikavitanam Vidyavadu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhivardhan Patipadam Purnamrita Swadam, Sartham Sanapnam Param Vijate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, Nam Namakari Behuda Nijasar Shaktatapitahanyam Yasvena Kala, Etadrisi to Kripa Bhagavan Marpidudemi Hadisam Nanugraha, Tirnadapi Sunichana, like that goes, right? So, these 11 verses which we are going to go through are based on the teaching of Mahaprabhu to make us a pure devotee. And then Prabhupada in the preface write very, 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 very important statement. Very, very powerful statement. Very, very powerful statement. So you all have this book, The Nectar of Instruction, in front of you, Rupa Goswami. You all have it, right? I'm hoping everybody has it. You have or not? Please tell me yes or no.
Yeah, I have to. Yes.
Not yet, Prabhuji. We have Veda based.
Okay, so if you don't have, then go to Vedabase Mataji,
Yeah.
and you can get at the Vedabase also, Mataji. And then, if you look at preface, in preface, Prabhupada says, advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. That's one small line. And Prabhupada is given the essence. Prabhupada is saying in the preface that advancement, we all want to be pure, these 11 verses are given for us to become the pure Vaishnava. And one advances in Krishna consciousness. Advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. So what is our attitude behind anything we do? right? How we are doing anything the way we do. What intent we are putting behind. It's very, very important. Are we doing something for name, fame? Then it will give us the name and fame. If we are doing just because we want to express our certain skill, then it is just the refinement of our skill. But Prabhupada says here, advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. But if we are doing it for pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then it will invoke bhakti. Okay. So, as we are going through this series of verses, our attitude is going to be we are developing the mood, right? We don't want to be, and it's very important that we have that background in our framework before we proceed. You know, we will very soon read the first words. Vacha Vega, Manasa Krodha Vega, Jiva Vega, Udara Pasta Vega, Hitan Vega, Visaheta Dhira. What does it mean? Why we are doing that? Right? What is the intent behind this control? Control of the urges. Because we want to become a pure Vaishnava. Why we are doing this Bhakti Sastri course? Not because we'll become very literate in Shastrik for sure. It's there. But ultimately it will invoke Shuddh devotion. You know, the impurity that we have in our understanding, the impure understanding that we have, that will go away. So these 11 verses are given for one to become pure Vaishnava, and one should reach or approach these verses in a very right attitude. Very, very important. Attitude of cultivating the pure devotion. And if one should follow these instructions very strictly, then it will be easier to make one's life successful. That's how Prabhupada concludes the preface. If one should follow these instructions very strictly, then it will be easier to make one life successful. So the series of verses that we are going to see, these are the fundamental instructions to guide our activities in the practice of Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga for us at this point is Vadhi Bhakti, sadhana. We are in the sadhaka stage, we are doing sadhana. So Vadhi Bhakti and so Vadhi Bhakti and Rupanuga Bhakti, Raganuga Bhakti, right? Raga, Vadhi and Raga. And we are follower of Rupa Goswami. So we are also called Rupanuga because teaching that we are going to adopt in our sadhana is coming from Rupa Goswami. The nectar of devotion, which is called NOD, is also given to us by Rupa Goswami, Bhakti-Samrita Sindhu. And this is Upadesamrita Sindhu. Upadesamrita. It's the ocean of instruction. Upadesamrita, but I'm adding Sindhu just to emphasize it that how powerful these instructions are. So this is the background. And each and every verse that we'll read, only 11 verses are there. We'll try to meditate on those verses very carefully, and it should help us answer some of the questions that we have. as a sadhaka also, right? We are not all the time trying to answer other questions, but sometimes we have our, we have questions to ourselves as well. Why I'm doing this? If somebody will ask me what happens and all of that. So with that background, we'll get into the first verse. But anybody has anything before we get into it?
Prabhuji,
Hey,
you
yeah,
two, two bhakti processes, Vaidhi bhakti and Raga bhakti.
will come. So sadhana bhakti has two uh, phases. First phase is sadhana, Vaidhi bhakti, which is based on vidhi, and we'll see the technical definition of vidhi bhakti, Vaidhi bhakti also in Nectar of Devotion. And then there is Raga Nuga Bhakti, a spontaneous love for Krishna. So all of that, then after that Bhava Bhakti, and then finally Prema Bhakti. All of that will be the subject of our discussion, Prabhuji. But thank you for catching the word. That tells me you are paying attention. So Upadesamrita has 11 verses, and these verses can be segmented in three categories mostly, or prominently. These verses are teaching us about these three subjects. The first one is Pratikulasya. What are the things that we need to avoid? Anukulasya Sankalpa, Pratikulasya Vivarjanaha. Whatever is in favor of bhakti, we have to adopt it. And whatever is not in favor of our bhakti, we have to avoid it. So these 11 verses basically talks these three things. What are the things that we have to avoid? And what are the things that we have to adopt? And once we have avoided what is taught here and adopted what is being given here, then we are a suitable candidate to really relish the process of bhakti. So, what we have to avoid, what we have to adopt by following this rejection and acceptance, we become a proper candidate. And then it says, with that rejection and acceptance, one should reside in proper mood at the holy place, such as Vrindavan, Mathura, and practice the bhakti. How bhakti should be practiced? What are the places of importance? How one should see the holy place? So, in nutshell, the nectar of instruction will teach us what are the things that we have to avoid. Remember this. What are the things we have to adopt? And then how to practice. So, bhakti practice should be done with some acceptance and some rejection. You all agree with me or no? You all agree or not?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, we cannot keep on doing everything and do bhakti. Right? We have to know what we have to do and what we don't have to do. And if you are advancing in the process of bhakti, then some of these symptoms will develop in your personality. I don't know when that day will come, my dear Lord. Kabe hobe bolo o din amor. Sudha name ruchi, aparade guchi. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, oh my dear Lord, when that day will come, and I will have real taste in your holy name. Sudha name ruchi, aparade guchi, and I'll be free from all types of offenses. Right. So that's what advancement is. When you're advancing the process of bhakti, your attachment for the holy name, for bhakta, for sadhus, will be becoming more and more firm. Respect for sadhu will come. You will see sadhus, the people who are of saintly quality. You would be able to see and appreciate. So just wanted to forecast some of the outcome of these teachings, that you would be able to see things in a better perspective through the lens of what shastras, what scriptures are teaching us. Rupara gunate pad hai byakuti, tabe hama bujivo jugal priti. Rupara gunate pad hoi byakuti, tabe hama bujava jugal priti. Once I am firmly Rupara gunate pade, once I am firmly attached to the feet of Rupa and Raghunath, then I would understand, I would have Jugal Priti. Priti means love, and Jugal here Radha and Krishna. Yeah. So when we are firmly attached to the feet of Rupa and Raghunath, these are our Rupa Raghunath, Yes, Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Jiva Gopal Bhatt, Das Raghunath, 6 Goswamis. When we are firmly attached at the feet of those who are attached to the feet of Krishna, Tabe hama bujive sei jugal priti. Then, if I am firmly, why I cited this verse, I want to emphasize this point, that when I am firmly attached at the feet of Rupa and Raghunath, then I would know, Tabe hama bujivo. Bujivo means I will understand. At that time, I'll understand Jugala Priti, the love for Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srimati Radharani and Krishna. So it's very important that we adhere to these teachings. Very, very important. Okay. Adherence to this teaching will proceed towards invoking the love for Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes people say, why we have to be chesty? Why we have to, see so much importance of acharyas? That's what it says. Rupara gunate pad hui byakuti, tabe hame bujhe se jugal priti. The love for Supreme Lord will awake by having firm faith in those devotees who have faith in Radha and Krishna. Because Radha and Krishna has revealed to them more than others. If somebody is mad, somebody is in love, somebody is always thinking about Radha and Krishna, you know why? Because Radha and Krishna has revealed more. They have revealed more to that person. That's why that person has more attachment. If somebody has no attachment, if somebody has little attachment, means Radha and Krishna, the Supreme Lord, has not revealed. That's how you have to see. So advancement, what is the meaning of advancement in a practical world? How much Lord has revealed himself in our life. In our understanding, how much love, how much Lord has, Radha and Krishna have revealed, how much we know about them. Okay, so it says here that that revelation of Supreme Lord comes by attaching to the feet of our acharyas, such as Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So what are the things we'll see in first two verses? First two verses, and please, if you can quickly keep on making the notes. It's not big that you have to uh, keep on writing. It's very short. So first two verses talks about what are the things we have to avoid. So we'll get into that. And then next five verses talks about what are the things we should adopt. What are the things which are sankalpa? What are the things which should be anukula, favorable? And what are the things which are pratikul? So two verses talks about pratikul. Five verses talks about anukul. So 5 and 2, 7. Remaining four verses talks about how one should perform the bhakti by residing in the holy places. And we'll see the definition of holy place later. So holy place means the place where Radha and Krishna is worship. So with that, anybody has any question before we get into the, so these are just the verse number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It goes all the way up to 11. But we'll keep on coming to this verse and we'll say, okay, so today we are discussing about what are the things which are pratikul. And in that, we're going to start the very first verse, because the very first verse talks about what are the 6 urges that need to be rejected. Okay, so let's get into that. The verse goes like this: Vacho begam manasah krodha begam jivah begam mudurapastha begam etan vegan yo visahit dhiraha sarvam api mam prithvim sasishyat. So this is verse number 1, and I'm sure many of you would have heard. Can you raise your hand? How many of you have heard this verse before? Just raise your hand. You don't have to say anything. Now raise your hand on your profile so that I can count the hand. Out of 8, how many of you have heard and seen this verse? You know how
I
to
have
raise
heard
hand? Go
from
to reaction. Go to reaction
audio. Okay.
and then raise your hand. Okay. Basketball, we have not heard about it?
No problem.
Okay.
I never heard about it.
Okay. So almost more or less all of you have heard about this verse. Okay. So this is a really powerful, powerful, powerful verse, and we'll spend some time to understand this. Okay. So Vacho Vegam. Let's read the translation. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demand, the action of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciple all over the world. So, first part, first 3 line talks about what are the items that one has to control. And if one controls, then the last part says, Sarvam apimam prithvim sasishyas. That person is qualified to make disciple all over the world. So this verse also sometimes are cited by many, uh, many devotees. When you ask them, who can be a spiritual master? Hmm? Who can be a spiritual master? That person who has control over these six senses. That person can be a spiritual master. And they're also known as Goswami. Go means senses and Swami means master. So one who are master of the senses, they can become the spiritual master. So Vacho Begam, Vega means urge and Vacho means speech. So Vacho Begam, one has to control the urge of a speech, right? Blah 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 blah. Always you wanna talk, keep on talking, 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 talking. So a devotee should have control on Vachu Begum, control on the urge of his speech. And Mansa Krodha Begum. Mind creates rag and dvesha, you know, attachment and aversion, attachment and anger. So Mansa, the, the demands of the mind, and if the demands of the minds are not fulfilled, then it turns into Krodha. So the demands of the mind also. Mind will say, I need this, I need this, I need that, I need that, I need that, I need that. Do you really need that? And if that is not met, then Krodha Begam, then it turns into anger. Many people, the amount of wealth that they accumulate in their life, their grandson and kids, would consume that or would expense that. Most of the time, the wealth that we accumulate in our life, we are not able to use it. We just accumulate it and leave the body, leave it for somebody else. Now, literally, does it make sense? I don't know. We'll talk about it. We think that future security, on the name of security, we do that. But do you have to really do that? So, Mansa, Krodha Begam, the demands of the mind, and if the demands of the minds are not met, then it turns into anger. So, Vani has to be controlled, the urge of the mind has to be controlled, anger has to be controlled. Three things we have heard. Vani has to be controlled. Mansa, mind has to be controlled. Krodha Begam, and the anger has to be controlled. And then Jihva Begam, he says, tongue. Jiha means tongue. The urge of the tongue also need to be controlled. For bhakta, for the person who wants to do bhakti, they have to control the urge of the tongue. Tongue will say that let's go to Mexican place, let's go to Chinese place, let's go to this place, that place, and you just keep on running after. Then we are pursuing the desire of our senses, where we have time to do bhakti. So Jihva Begam, the urge of the tongue has to be controlled, and Udara, belly. Prabhupada writes in the purport, such as fasting on the Ekadasi day or eating as much as is sufficient to nourish the body, not too much eating, which makes us feel like sleepy, right? Eating uh, only prasadam. So, udar, the urge of the belly has to be controlled. And last one is upastha begam, the urge of genitals also has to be controlled. So 6 controls are given here. Can somebody say what are those 6? Please say whatever way you want to say, but I would like to hear from you.
Guruji, I
Urge of
continue.
page, urge
Yeah,
of page, and control of mind, and anger, and urge to the belly, and control of genitals, and you have to control of the tongue.
yes. These six urges must be controlled. Okay? Vacho Vegam. We are talking. Prabhupada gives explanation. What exactly it means by that. Mansa Begum. You will have detailed explanation in the purport. Krodha Begum. What is that? Jiha Begum. Udar Begum, the urge of the belly. Upastha Begum, the agitation of the genitals. Etan Began. Etan, all of these. Began is plural. Yo Visahet Dhira. Visahet means controlling. The etan vegan you bisahet. The person who have control over etan on these vegan urges, that person is dhira. So if somebody will ask who is sober, the sober is one who has control on these six senses. And then sarvam apimam prithvim sasishyat. That person is now qualified, sarvam, everyone. Where? Prithvim, on all over the globe. Sashishyat. He is now qualified to make disciple all over the globe. So the first verse teaches about these six urges that must be controlled. Vacho begam, mansa krodha begam, jiva begam, udarpastha begam, metan begam, ishahita dira, sarvam apimam, prithvim sashishyat. You should memorize this verse. This is also the verse of memorization, I believe. So you can memorize this verse and remember this verse. What are the urges that one must control? Okay. So we'll see some more definition. So these control, six controls can be put into three major categories. So for a sadhaka, these three types of controls must be practiced. What is that? Vani control, speech, how much to talk, when to talk, how to talk. Vani control has to be practiced. And then mind, urges of mind. So Vani, Vachanaha, mind, Manaha, and then Sharir, body, Kaya. Okay. These three types of austerity. So person who does these six austerity are called tapasvi. If you are not doing this, then we are not doing tapasya. But if you are doing it, then you are doing the tapasya. And the person who does this, a person who does the tapasya is called tapasvi, the one who does the austerity. And there are three types of austerity. There are three types of living austere life. Vachaha, by speech, talking pleasant, talking softly, talking nicely, talking about Krishna, not talking about, example is given here, such as, talks about politics, economic science, diplomacy. Those are those talks are basically mundane talks, or reading even books which are not talking about Krishna Katha is not the austerity of the mind, austerity of the Vani. So Vachu Begam means controlling the urges of reading the mundane books or talks. And what are some example? Gyanis, their talk is called prajalpa, unnecessarily talk. Karmis talk, they'll get into tie, shoot, big classes they give, how to become success. All of that type of talk, reading mundane books, 7 arts of 7 ways of doing this, 7 ways of doing that, this and that. So anything that is, and it takes time to get there. In today's society, so much things all over the place. So the talk of Jnani, Karmis, and Prajalpa, necessarily gossiping about devotee, reading mundane books. And here is the very surprising thing. Sometimes one is staying mourn, silent. Why? Oh, Baba, both, is very big Baba. He doesn't talk. Why? Name, fame, glories. So that type of, so you will be, this contrast will give you a big understanding. This contrast will give you a very wider spectrum to understand that Vachu Bega doesn't also mean mourn. If that mourn is for name, fame, glories, then that is also called one of the urges of speech. But what is the control? The real control is that one is using their speech for talking Krishna Katha, reading Shastra, or engaging in Krishna Seva. Right? So meetings, planning, we keep on talking. Those are not, you know, those are not called uh, uncontrolled urges. Okay, so it gives you a full spectrum of understanding. Mon is not control of. Somebody may say that, oh, if I don't talk anything, then I'm controlling the urges of speech. No, no. If you don't talk, that's also not controlling the urges. Rupa Goswami says the real control of urges is engaging the power of speech in Krishna's service. So that is called controlling the urge of speech. And then second one is mansaha, mind. So mind gives desire, and what are the desire? Mind has attachment, rag and dvesa. Mind will, forecast, will plan and create attachment for certain subject, right? Vishayas, sanjayate, Vishaya, what is that verse? If one is contemplating on the object of sense gratification, then that contemplation turns into greed. I want it. Too much attachment. I want it. I want it. And if that object is not met as per one's greed, then it turns into krodha. Kam sanjayate krodha. This greed turns into anger. So the mind has this two business, which is here given as avirodh priti, means unrestricted attachment. Too much attachment. There is no restrictions to the attachment. Too much adhering to certain thing. And also, brudh yukta krodha means frustration, too much frustrations, uh, because the results was not met. Results were not met. Greed were not satisfied. So both sides, too much attachment and too much frustration. Not these two things are not good for devotee. Devotees are not too attached. Like you'll see even many years of sadhana, bhakti. They're too attached. World Cup, India World Cup cricket, what's happening? Who is going to be winner? Why you are worrying about who is going to be winner? That means still you have taste in the subject of this material world, right? And if you have taste in the subject of the material world, that means you are liking it. There is something that you release. Krishna will say, release it, stay here. Right now you are watching, tomorrow I'll make you a big player. Continue watching. So our Acharya says that, give this whole world to Krishna and you yourself gave it to Krishna. Let Krishna manage the whole world and you be managed by Krishna. Give it yourself to Krishna and you give whole thing to Krishna. So too much attachment and too much frustration. Now people are even killing themselves because India lost the World Cup, jumping from the floor. Oh, I was expecting that this player to do good, they didn't do it. Or if they win, too much happiness, right? So both of this paradigm, too much sorrow or too much happiness is not good for devotee. This verse says, Etan veganiyo bisahit dhiraha. Devotee by nature supposed to be dhira. What does it mean by dhira? If you are dhira, then your emotion is not invested in the material dealings. If you are too much invested into the material dealings, then your focus is changing, right? So you have to balance how much. That's why very simply says anukulenu krishnanu silnam bhakti uttamam. How much we have to engage in this material world, we have to know. Our engagement is only up to the extent where I can practice my bhakti in a mood that is prescribed by our acharya. But if you plan too much engagement, by the way, this Nectar of Instruction will talk the critical thing. It's a very powerful book, I'm telling you. So you might be going through a lot of emotions, and please express. I don't have any problem if you go either side of the fence. But I'm trying to just go through what it's been given here. So too much investment of the emotion in the material dealing is not good. You are skewing yourself. When you draw a plot, there is a skewed, left or right is skewed, right? But you don't want to be skewed. You want to be symmetrical. You want to be very balanced. So mind, if it's too attached or too frustrated, it gives that skewness. But devotee should be dhiraha. Devotee is not investing unnecessarily their emotion in the things of material world. So think of Krishna, and he is very tolerant, and he uses sometimes. Prabhupada writes in the purport, you read. He uses sometimes his anger also, but he uses that in service of Krishna. Okay, so sometimes if he has anger, he will express it, but he will express when somebody is offending devotee of Krishna. Example is given Hanumanji. When Mother Sita was stolen by Ravan. He went and he just burned entire. Didn't care, it's made of gold or it's made of what, whatever it is. It's not in service of Mother Sita. You know, just let it burn, burn to ashes. Or even Arjuna fighting in the Kurukshetra, he showed the anger to serve Supreme Personality of Godhead. Or Lord Himself in the pastime of Jagai and Madhai. So that's another spectrum. Control of mind and frustration and attachment. That also doesn't mean that we don't use our anger or our attachment for Krishna. If we don't do that, if we don't attach to Krishna, then that is also not good. So are you understanding the both side of it so far, Prabhuji's Mataji's?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
And then the last one is Kaya, body. So what are the urges of the body? Tongue is the urge of the body. Belly is the urge of the body. And genitals are the urges of the body. Okay, so urge of the Vani, urge of the Manha, and urge of the Kaya. So Jiva Begum means eating, dead bodies, meat eater. They are killing their compassion. They would be it will be very hard for them to understand this science. Those those intoxicated, unsanitary food creates a cloud in one's understanding, and that cloud will never let have faith in name of Krishna. It the meat or intoxication that we do, it eats our faith. Let's put it in that way. It's weaken our faith. Yeah. They would not have faith. They would say, no, no, this material world is created by molecular science, Atho Mant Tato Panth. Where is God? Who has seen the God? If God is there, why his poor people are all this type of talk? Why the people are suffering? They would not believe in the principle of karma. They would not believe that everything is governed. Maya Dakshina Prakriti Srute Sacharacharam. Krishna is very clearly saying they would not have that faith. When Krishna says Maya Dakshina Prakriti Srute Sacharacharam. Oh Krishna, oh Arjun, under my instruction, this Prakriti is being conducted. Srute Sacharacharam, all of this Char and Achar, all of them are functioning. Bhakta, 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 Bharta, Anumanta, you know, this is all they are being instructed. Their their inspiration is coming from me. They would not. And you keep on pouring and telling everything. They'll say you are you are very emotional. You're not very intelligent in their definition. But emotional expression towards bhakti, from where it comes? From Shraddha, faith. You know, the faith makes the huge difference. And this faith is not one life earning, my dear devotees. The faith is life after life after life after life after life. One earns that Shraddha. And slowly, when that Shraddha is accumulated, then it makes one qualified to engage in the process of bhakti. So, the person who does not have how destructive it is, Jiva Begum, one who has a still taste for intoxicants, tea, coffee, rotten food with alcohol. Those are going to just, keep you unfocused. Eating dead bodies or even spices such as garlic and onions. Prabhupada writes about that. Too much, you know, following the urge of senses is not good. But one should eat Krishna Prasad. We eat Krishna Prasad. anytime, anything, anywhere we are, we try to eat Krishna Prasad. So Jiva Begam is very, very important and demands a belly means hunger, eating too much, too opulent, all of those has to be controlled. And how we do it? By fasting on certain days, such as Ekadasi, Janmashtami, Baraha, appearance day, or all other appearance days that we have in our life. We do that. And Upas Begam, agitation of the genitals. It kills the consciousness. It's misdirect the person. You know, it sets the wrong goal. It gives the wrong uh, object as your priority. People health is weak. They cannot focus on bhakti. You know. So how to control that urge? By living life as a girhastha. Legal marriage and following the regulatory principles and begetting the Krishna conscious child. So you can see the full spectrum. It's not saying that you should not completely restrain it, but saying that if you have the desire, be legally married and and beget the Krishna conscious child. In Western society, the marriage concept of marriage is very much diluting. It's like partnership. We are partners. We are living, living together before marriage. As long as we want to live together, we live. As long as there is, uh, genital requirement, appeal of sexual desire are there, they will stick together. Once that starts, once that appetite starts satisfying, the friction starts coming slowly and slowly, slowly and slowly. You go that way, I go that way. So all of that is not the Vedic way of living the life. So for a civilized person, a person who is follower of and this is the real Vedic, following the Vedic, culture. Doesn't matter you live in America or you live in India. That's really not a point. That's really not the point. According to Brahma, the Gaudiya Sampradaya teaching, really the traditional understanding is not what makes one Vedic or non-Vedic. It's not like that all the people who are born in India are Vedic and all the people who are born in Western is Malaysia. That's wrong understanding. The person who are even having a American body, but they are following these urges, controlling these urges, they are Vedic, they are living Vedic life. A person who have born in India, but they are not following this Vedic teaching, they are Malaysians. That's what Shastra says. It's not me saying. Okay, so this is a scientific definition of who is Malaysia or who is Vedic person. And a person who is Vedic is the one who follows, who controls these urges. Any questions anybody has before I move to next slide? Any, is it clear so far?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I just wanted to make one comment. The very
Yeah,
powerful sentence that you said, like, give the world to Krishna and give yourself to Krishna. So we should not worry about what the world is going, what is going in the world, and also not to attach to the results of our work. When we get too attached to the results of our work, that means we are not trusting Krishna to give a result.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that
We
was
think
very
that we
powerful.
are
Thank
still
you.
doer. We think that we are still doer, right? We can still make the change, but we forget that, in fact, whatever is happening. Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, first canto, chapter 18, 19 talks about it. When Kali Yuga came, Maharaj Parikshit can see that now Dwapar has gone and this dark age has come, and this age has its own symptoms. So it will do what it's supposed to do. But he said that, my time is over now. He just wrapped up his pastime and moved away. Because this is Lord's desire. So you are right. We have to understand in every situation, whatever is happening. But that also requires a lot of faith, Right, Mataji? A person who do not have faith in Krishna, how they will have faith that everything happening in their life is happening because of the Krishna desire. प्रकृति क्रियामनानि गुणे कर्माणि सर्वस्व अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा कार्ताहमिति मन्यते कार्ताहमिति मन्यते. I'm the doer. The fortune that I have acquired is because of my intelligence, because of me. So kartahamiti manyate is another symptoms of non-violence. Other symptoms of being violent. Sorry, being violent. Other symptoms of not having firm faith. I use the wrong word, not non-violence, violence. Being violent. So yes, having faith that avasya rakshivo Krishna. These 6 symptoms of surrender. So you were right. Anybody, anything else that I would like to share?
One question, Prabhuji. From the very first Rupa Raghunath Pade Haibe Akuti Kabe
तबे हमें बूझेगो.
Kabe Hame Bujibu say Vigalapriti. Akuti, what is the meaning of Akuti, Prabhuji?
Akuti means attachment.
Attachment. Attraction, okay.
Paragunate pade hui be akuti means if I am attached to the feet, means they are teaching. If I am firmly attached, then I would know. So sometimes we might think that I have become devotee, and then in later verses it's explained. There are 3 types of devotee: Kanistadhikari, Madhmadhikari, and Utmadhikari. Right? So what are the symptoms of those personalities and who they are and all of that? So once we have firm conviction at the teaching of these acharyas, and we have no doubt, we can explain this concept to others, and others will be enlightened with your understanding. You can change somebody else's understanding or a standing or position because of your firm conviction. Utmadhikari, one who can do it, Utmadhikari. He's not going to be diluted. He will be firmly fixed at the feet of Krishna. The whole world will become a bhakta. Nobody, all your neighborhood, everywhere, everybody will say there is no Krishna, no Krishna, no. But you would not be convinced by that. How come Krishna? Krishna is there. He is doing everything. That's Utmadhikari. So akuti means that type of attachment, firm attachment, and that firm attachment indicates one's understanding of their devotion. Jugale tabe habe bujibo, tabe hame bujibo, say jugal priti. Then I will understand that I have priti for Sri Radha Syam Sundar. Then I would know. Okay, anybody else has anything? So I don't want to rush through. This was the first class. I would like you to take some time and you can find nectar of instruction online on Vedabase. If you don't have book, please go and read the purport, and I'm sure it will give you more clarity. So I see here you have nectar of instruction. You can read. Anybody else has anything before we adjourn? Any realization, any questions, any doubt?
One more question, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please keep on asking. No problem, Prabhuji. Yes.
So, when Mahaprabhu, gave the instruction to Rupa Goswami, there are 8 verses, and now from those 8 verses, these 11 verses are
No, 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 no. No, the teaching is not coming out of those 8 verses. This 11 verses is coming out of the discussion
discussed.
that Mahaprabhu had with Rupa Goswami and other devotees. So that's good that you ask. So Mahaprabhu did not personally write any book. All he did is that he spoke these 8 verses, which were also at many locations, many places. He never wrote them as a series of verses like a author, a poet will write, not like that. So in fact, Mahaprabhu was a great learned of Sanskrit. If you read his childhood pastime, when he was in Navadvip, he had a center of learning for Sanskrit. But when he became sannyasi, he did not write. But he personally instructed the 6 Goswamis. Personal instruction to the 6 Goswamis. Like the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita was instructed. So based on those instructions, this Goswami, 6 Goswami, wrote what they had heard and learned from Mahaprabhu. So this Amrita, this 11 verses that we are going to go through, this is part of the instructions. So Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami, Raghunatha Goswami, uh, others, Sanatana Goswamis, all these Goswamis are different places, some in Varanasi, some at Allahabad, different places he instructed. And based upon those instructions, there are a series of books written. So these particular instructions, nectar of instruction, the story that I told was when Mahaprabhu was in his final pastime, staying at Jagannath Puri. In the evening, one day he was walking on the beach, and then he saw the bluish sea color that reminded him Krishna. He got fainted. When we came back to his consciousness, he gave a few instructions to Rupa Goswami and other devotees assembled there. So this particular teaching, these 11 series of verses are coming from that teaching, that particular discussion that Mahaprabhu had with devotees, especially with Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam, knowing the mind, Rupa Goswami knew that Mahaprabhu is giving all of these instructions. And not only he knew, but Mahaprabhu personally told that you all, go to Vrindavan. They ask, my dear Lord, Amike, who am I? And what I have to do? Then Mahaprabhu gave the instruction. And they said that go to Vrindavan, explore the sites of my pastime, and write books on my teaching, so that people who will come in future, they would know the science of pure bhakti. So pure bhakti, the science of pure bhakti, Anya Vilasita Sunyam Gyan Karmadhyana, this is personally taught to Rupa Goswami by Mahaprabhu. So all of these teachings that we practice, Brahmada Gauriya Sampradaya, we follow some teaching, right? Like don't do this, don't do this, All of that teaching was presented by Mahaprabhu himself, reinforced by Mahaprabhu himself to the 6 Goswamis. And then 6 Goswamis, they wrote in different books. Okay, so most of the philosophy that we follow is coming from Bhagavad Gita, coming from which Lord himself spoke, coming from Bhagavatam, which is also spoken by Lord to Brahma, and then finally it came down to 18,000 verses, or Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu spoke to 6 Goswamis. So most of these philosophies that we follow are coming from Lord himself. And these philosophies are predominantly teaching about unalloyed devotion. So personalities. So in India, first before I get to the next step, are you clear? What did you get the answer of your question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So I said that the answer to answer your question, it was spoken by Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri among the group of devotee, and Rupa Goswami was there. So Rupa Goswami captured that teaching. Okay, that is not coming, but it is compared. In the Purport Prabhupada is writing, Mahaprabhu gave Shastram that we chant all the time. He talks about glories of pastime. Likewise, these 11 verses are given by Rupa Goswami for one to become pure Vaishnava. So it's compared very high. But the point I was trying to make is that sometimes you would see that people coming from different background, and karmic background, jnani background, niskam karmi yogi background, all of this background they have, and they would not fully understand what Brahma the Gora Sampradaya teaching is, what Prabhupada taught. You know why? Because they haven't studied Bhagavad Gita. Their books are not Bhagavad Gita, not Bhagavatam, not Chaitanya Charitamrita. Their books are something else. This Puran, that Puran, that Puran, and then they go through the teaching that is presented in the Purana. But we predominantly emphasize the teaching that is presented in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, predominantly. And these three literature talks pure devotion, pure bhakti towards Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so if somebody who is reading about Lord Shiva and Ganesha and Kali and Durga, they might not come to this stage where they are studying about pure bhakti. Okay, so this is the mercy of our Acharya, that they set us up right. Doesn't matter, patra na kari vichar, whatever qualification you have or not. Right now, Ramacharya, being so unqualified, is talking the pure bhakti, talking the instruction that is given by Mahaprabhu to Rupa Goswami and trying to explain it. This is just the mercy of Acharya, that suddenly all of these small hoops that one has to go through, they say that don't worry, you don't have time, for just come to the essence. So the sar of the sar is given to us. So that's how it is. That is how it is. If our philosophy, if our understanding is not making sense to somebody, do not worry too much about that. No need to worry too much about it, because you have to understand that that person has not come to this stage to understand what we are talking about. Somebody coming from different background, it will be still kind of stuck there. But that's another meaning of Rupa Raghunatha Pada Haiva Kuti, means Sardharman Padita Jamamekam Sarnam Braja, or whatever identity we have, Sarpadhi Binur Mukto, Tatprate Nirmalam, suddenly coming to that stage where now we are putting our trust in Acharya, and we are trying to see trying to learn from their teaching and then go from there. Making sense for what I'm trying to say?
Yes, Prabhu.
So it's good fortune only, and you should be able to explain it. Sometimes people don't understand this concept. Practice Shuddh Bhakti. Practice Shuddh Bhakti. Don't worry too much about anything. Practice Shuddh Bhakti and know what you are doing. Know from where these teachings are coming. There are Christian teaching, there are Islamic teaching, there are Jain Dharma, there are Bauddha Dharma, there are Kali teaching, Durga teaching. All of these teachings are there. You understand from where your teaching is coming, what you are talking about, which book you are referring to, what are the contexts of those books, so that you would be able to understand where you fall on this spectrum. Clear, Prabhuji? It's very important. So as an intelligent devotee, these are the things we have to look into. We don't want to be emotional, but we have to understand from where we are coming, what perspective I'm talking about. If somebody is not understanding, and out of 10 offenses, the ninth offense is also, the ninth offense is, it is also offense to instruct a faithless person. Somebody who does not have faith, unnecessarily forcing that person to understand the science of Krishna consciousness, it will be over the head. The water will be overflowing, because that person is not ready to understand this science of pure unalloyed bhakti. Gyan karmadi bhukti mukti sukti kami sakalya kam. So it's like that. Whoever the bhukti or mukti or siddhi or kami, they have their own desire, but what we are talking about is pure science. So the background that was given to set this up, that teaching that we are going through right now is coming from Mahaprabhu himself, who was given to Rupa Goswami, and the intent of this teaching is to transform one to make a pure Vaishnava, pure follower of Vaishnavism. I don't know, Bridget Mataji, is it too much or are you okay with us? Bridget, I want to hear from you, Mataji. Bridget Mataji. Was it too much for you or you were able to digest it? Okay, maybe her thing is not working. I can unmute. Are you there, Mataji?
Oh. Sorry, I forgot the technical thing. I'm not good with phones, sorry.
Right. No, I said that, did you follow us or was it something
Oh,
very...
yes, I could follow, but it is a lot to digest.
Right, that's why I didn't
I
go through all of that, in one slide. I was planning to go through the entire verse, but then we'll recap next week. And if you read Prabhupada's purport, there is a small book, very small book. First verse, it will help you understand many things. So
yes,
by
I
reading,
have the book, Prabhu. I have it.
yeah, by reading you will know many things.
Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else has anything? Soumya Mataji, are you good?
In this first page on the cover page, is Rupa Goswami both picture or
Both Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami.
it's nothing Rupa Goswami? Okay.
Yeah, both Rupa and Sanatan. Sanatana Goswami is elder, Rupa Goswami is younger. So I would say that the person who is on the top is Sanatana Goswami. He doesn't say there, and the person who is a little behind, younger brother always sits behind, right? Down to elder brother. So Rupa Goswami is the one who is writing, and Sanatana Goswami is the one who is flipping the page.
Yeah.
That's what, again, is my guess. There might be some picture somewhere. But yes, Rupa and Sanatana Goswami is on the cover. Good. We can adjourn here then.
Oh.
वंशकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, सिमल भक्त वृंद की जय. Bimala Mataji, when you are coming to state, are you still in India?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm still be back on August 2nd week.
Oh my gosh, you are enjoying there. It's
Prabhuji.
11 o'clock there almost, right?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. It's 11
Not too late, right? You can take it.
Yeah, I can take it. It's
Okay,
not too late.
thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Bhaskar Prabhu, Hari Bol.